One of the most common criticism of One Piece is also one of its biggest strengths. The arcs are long, sometimes really long, and depending on who you ask, that's either the reason One Piece is great or the reason they stopped watching. But here's the interesting part: One Piece arcs aren't long by accident, they're long because of how Oda tells stories. The problem is that the same thing that makes the story feel rich can also make it feel slow. If you compare One Piece to most modern anime, the difference becomes obvious. Many newer series focus on a small cast, a single objective, fast progression. One Piece does almost the opposite. Every island is practically its own world. Every arc introduces new faction, characters, histories, conflict, and mysteries. Most stories ask an arc to accomplish one thing: defeat a villain, win a tournament, complete a mission. One Piece arcs usually have several jobs at the same time. They need to advance the stories, develop new characters, expand the world, introduce future plot points, move long-term mysteries forward, and still deliver a satisfying ending. That's a lot of responsibility for a single arc, which naturally makes them longer. Another reason is scale. The One Piece world has become so large that not everything even fits into the manga itself. Important information appear in cover stories, SBS section. Sometimes events happen completely off screen and only get referenced later. That's unusual. Most series struggle to build a world that feels large. One Piece has the opposite problem. The world is so large that Oda has to choose what gets included and what gets left out. And when you're carrying that much information, things naturally takes longer. One Piece is also built around delayed payoff. Oda loves planting ideas years before he uses them. A character might appear briefly and disappear. A mysterious detail might seem unimportant. A random conversation could become relevant much later. When those payoffs arrive, they're incredibly satisfying. But the trade-off is obvious. You need time to build them. And the more payoff you want, the more setup you need. Now let's be fair, not every criticism of One Piece pacing is wrong. Some arcs genuinely feel stretched. Some sections spend too much time on side characters. Some fights run longer than they need to. And when that happens, even fans start feeling it. The size of the world explains the pacing, it doesn't automatically justify its decisions. Sometimes an arc could probably reach the same destination with fewer detours. So maybe the question isn't why are One Piece arcs so long, but the better question is what do we gain because they're long? Because the same pacing that frustrates some viewers is also responsible for some of the series' greatest payoff. One Piece arc feel long because they're carrying more weight than most stories. Sometimes that creates incredible moments. Sometimes it creates unnecessary drag. But either way, the length isn't a mistake. It's a consequence of how One Piece is built. And One Piece is built different. The end.